There was a time when drinking water could kill you, not metaphorically, literally. The rivers were contaminated, the wells were infected, cholera, dysentery, typhoid, invisible killers hiding in every sip of clean-looking water. Entire villages wiped out, children dead before they were old enough to walk. But there was one drink that kept people alive. It wasn't medicine, it wasn't magic. It was sitting in a clay jar, slightly warm, smelling strange, bubbling quietly on its own. And here's the part nobody tells you. This drink wasn't invented by a scientist, a king, or a priest. It was invented by an accident, a forgotten jar, a little rain, and one very curious human being who decided to taste something they absolutely should not have. That single sip changed the course of human civilization forever. Go back 10,000 years. A small settlement somewhere in ancient Mesopotamia, the land between two rivers, modern-day Iraq. A group of early humans are figuring out farming for the first time. They are storing grain, wild barley, harvested carefully, kept in clay jars for the long winter ahead. Then one night, it rains. Water seeps into a forgotten jar of grain. Nobody notices. Days pass. The grain sits in the warm water, and something invisible begins to happen. Wild yeast floating naturally in the air lands in the jar. It begins to eat the sugars in the wet grain. It multiplies. It exhales. The mixture begins to bubble. When someone finally opens that jar, maybe days later, maybe weeks, what they find is not ruined grain. It is something else entirely. A thick, cloudy, slightly fizzy liquid with a smell unlike anything they have encountered before. And someone either very brave or very hungry, tasted it. What happened next was not what they expected. They felt warm. They felt relaxed. The tension in their shoulders dissolved. The fear of the coming winter softened slightly at the edges. And for just a moment, the brutal difficulty of staying alive in a world with no medicine, no shelter, and no certainty felt almost manageable. They went back for another sip. Early beer looked nothing like beer today. It was thick as porridge, cloudy as muddy water, and had chunks of grain floating on the surface. People drank it through long reed straws to filter out the solid pieces. The world's first beer drinkers looked like they were sipping a very questionable soup, but they kept making it and kept drinking it. And slowly, deliberately, they stopped making it by accident and started making it on purpose. This was not just the invention of beer. Some historians believe this was the invention of civilization itself. Here's an idea that will genuinely shift something in your brain. For decades, historians believed humans settled down and built cities because they wanted to farm grain for bread. Stable food, stable life, stable civilization. But new research suggests something far more interesting. They settled down to brew beer. Think about it. Grain for bread can be eaten immediately. You harvest, you grind, you eat. But grain for beer requires you to stay in one place. You need to plant enough to have surplus. You need storage jars. You need fire. You need time. Beer doesn't just need ingredients, it needs infrastructure. And infrastructure needs people. And people living together in one place, sharing resources, dividing labor, building walls. That is the definition of civilization. Beer didn't come after civilization. Beer created it. And nobody understood this better than the ancient Sumerians. The Sumerians were the first great civilization on Earth. Brilliant mathematicians, architects, writers. They invented the wheel. They invented writing. And they were absolutely, completely, unapologetically obsessed with beer. They had over 20 different words for beer in their language. 20. They brewed dark beer, pale beer, red beer, sweet beer, beer mixed with honey, beer mixed with dates. They had a goddess specifically dedicated to beer. Her name was Ninkasi, and they worshipped her through a hymn that was also, brilliantly, a brewing recipe. The world's oldest beer recipe is a poem.
written in 1800 BC, to a beer goddess. But the Sumerians didn't just drink beer for pleasure, they used it as money. Workers building the great temples in cities of Mesopotamia were paid daily wages in beer. Not coins, not grain, beer. A laborer received roughly 1 liter per day. The supervisor got more. The senior official got extra rations with better quality. Your performance review in ancient Mesopotamia determined the quality of your beer. And just when you think this story cannot get stranger, it travels to Egypt. And what the Egyptians did with beer will genuinely make you stop and think.
The Great Pyramid of Giza, one of the most extraordinary structures ever built by human hands. 40,000 workers, 20 years, 2 million stone blocks, some weighing as much as 80 tons. How did the Egyptians keep 40,000 workers fed, motivated, and alive under the brutal Egyptian sun? Beer. Archaeologists excavating the workers' village near Giza found something extraordinary, a massive industrial brewery capable of producing thousands of liters of beer every single day. This was not a coincidence. This was logistics. Egyptian workers received beer rations as part of their daily wages, up to 4 liters per person per day. It provided calories when food was scarce. It provided hydration in the desert heat. And because it was brewed, boiled, fermented, processed, it was dramatically safer than the water available to them. The Great Pyramid of Giza was built by workers who were, by modern standards, slightly drunk every single day. But here is where the story takes a turn nobody sees coming. The Egyptians didn't just give beer to adults. Children drank it too. Elderly people drank it. Pregnant women drank it. Not because anyone thought it was ideal, but because the alternative, drinking untreated water in ancient Egypt, could kill you within days. Beer wasn't a luxury. It wasn't a reward. It was the difference between life and death. And this truth, that beer kept humanity alive for thousands of years, would become the most important and most controversial fact about this drink for the next 5,000 years. Because the moment something keeps people alive, someone always tries to control it. It is the year 1000 AD. Europe is dark, cold, and dying slowly. Medieval cities are growing faster than anyone planned for. People are packed into tight streets with no sewage systems, no clean water infrastructure, no understanding of bacteria or disease. Rivers run brown. Wells sit steps away from open waste pits, and every summer, without fail, the sickness comes. Dysentery, typhoid, cholera, moving silently through the water supply, killing children first, then the elderly, then everyone else unlucky enough to be thirsty. In this world, water was not refreshing. Water was a gamble. But beer, boiled during brewing, transformed by fermentation, was safe. The heat killed the pathogens. The alcohol and acids that fermentation produced created an environment where dangerous bacteria simply could not survive. Nobody in medieval Europe understood why beer was safer. They just knew it was, so everyone drank it. Workers, merchants, farmers, soldiers, men, women, the elderly, and children, every single day. Medieval children as young as 3 years old drank what historians call small beer, a very low alcohol version brewed specifically for daily consumption, not as a treat, as breakfast. The world ran on it. And nobody thought this was unusual because the alternative was dying of thirst in a city surrounded by poisoned water. But here is where the story takes a turn nobody expected. The people who realized they could control the beer supply realized they could control everything else too. The Catholic Church in medieval Europe was not just a religious institution. It was the most powerful political and economic force on the continent. It owned land. It collected taxes. It decided who went to heaven and who didn't. And it brewed beer on an industrial scale. Monasteries across Europe became the greatest breweries of the medieval world. Monks had time, discipline, clean water sources, and something no village brewery had: written records.
They documented recipes. They tracked fermentation times. They experimented with ingredients across decades, sometimes across generations. They took brewing from an accident and turned it into a science. Monks brewed beer specifically to drink during fasting periods. When they were forbidden from eating solid food, they classified beer as liquid bread and drank it freely. Some monasteries consumed over 5 liters per monk per day during Lent. The church wasn't just tolerating beer, it was financially dependent on it. Monasteries sold beer to surrounding communities. Pilgrims traveling to holy sites expected beer at every monastery they passed through. The brewing calendar was tied to the religious calendar. Special beers for Easter, for Christmas, for feast days. God and grain had become completely inseparable. But this created a tension that would simmer for centuries. Because while monks were perfecting their recipes behind stone walls, outside those walls, something darker was happening. Taverns were multiplying. People were drinking not for survival, not for nutrition, not for God, but purely for pleasure. And the church, which had built its power partly on controlling human behavior, did not know what to do with a substance it simultaneously depended on and feared. The battle between beer and authority was just beginning, and the first weapon that authority reached for was the law. The year is 1516. Bavaria, Germany. Duke Wilhelm IV is watching his kingdom descend into chaos, not from war, not from plague, but from beer. Brewers across Bavaria are putting everything imaginable into their recipes: roots, berries, mushrooms, herbs, soot. Some of these ingredients are genuinely toxic. People are getting sick. Some are dying. And rumors are spreading that certain brewers are deliberately adding substances that made their beer more addictive, keeping customers coming back not by quality, but by manipulation. Wilhelm had seen enough. He issued a decree that would become the most famous beer law in human history, the Reinheitsgebot, the German beer purity law. The rule was simple and absolute. Beer could contain exactly 3 ingredients: water, barley, hops. Nothing else, ever. This law, written in 1516, is still technically in effect in Germany today. It is the oldest food regulation in the world still being enforced. You cannot sell beer in Germany that violates a law written 500 years ago. But the Reinheitsgebot did something beyond protecting public health. It standardized an entire industry. It gave consumers trust, and it introduced one ingredient, hops, that permanently transformed what beer tasted like. Before hops, beer was sweet, heavy, and spoiled quickly. Hops added bitterness that balanced the sweetness. More importantly, hops acted as a natural preservative. Beer brewed with hops lasted months longer than beer without it. Suddenly, beer could travel. It could be shipped across regions, across countries, across oceans. And the moment beer could travel, it stopped being a local drink. It became a global industry. But the biggest explosion was still coming. In the 1800s, the Industrial Revolution didn't just change how people worked, it changed how the world drank. Factories began producing beer at a scale that would have seemed impossible to every monk, every Sumerian worker, every Egyptian pyramid builder who came before. Millions of bottles, millions of barrels, reaching every corner of the earth. And just when it seemed like nothing could stop beer's complete domination of the world, one country decided to try. The year is 1920, America. For decades, a powerful movement had been building across the country. Temperance groups, mostly religious, mostly women exhausted by husbands drinking away their wages, had been pushing Congress toward one goal: ban alcohol. All of it, forever. On January 17, 1920, they succeeded. The 18th Amendment to the United States Constitution made it illegal to manufacture, sell, or transport alcohol anywhere in America. It had a name that sounded reasonable, even noble: Prohibition. What followed was neither reasonable nor noble. Within weeks, not months, not years, weeks, underground breweries appeared in basements across every American city. Secret bars called speakeasies opened behind barbershops, inside laundromats, underneath restaurants.
You knocked on an unmarked door, a slot opened, you whispered a password, and inside, music, laughter, and ice-cold beer flowing freely. At its peak, New York City alone had an estimated 30,000 speakeasies. That was twice the number of legal bars that had existed before Prohibition. The government had banned beer. America had simply moved the party underground. But here's where it gets darker. Someone had to supply 30,000 illegal bars. Someone had to brew the beer, transport it, distribute it, and protect the operation from both police and competitors. That someone was the mafia. Organized crime in America existed before Prohibition, but Prohibition turned small criminal gangs into billion-dollar empires overnight. Al Capone, perhaps the most famous criminal in American history, built his entire fortune on illegal alcohol. He ran breweries, controlled distribution networks, and bribed police, judges, and politicians on an industrial scale. The government tried to stop alcohol. Instead, it accidentally funded the most powerful criminal organizations America had ever seen. Al Capone's illegal beer operation during Prohibition was generating approximately $60 million per year. Adjusted for inflation, that is nearly $1 billion today, from beer. By 1933, the government had seen enough. Prohibition was repealed. Beer was legal again. And Americans who had been drinking illegally for 13 years without a single day of actually stopping walked into legal bars and ordered a cold one like nothing had ever happened. Prohibition didn't stop drinking, it just made criminals rich. After Prohibition ended, the American beer industry exploded. Massive corporations, Budweiser, Coors, Miller, rebuilt on an industrial scale. Cold refrigeration meant beer could travel further. Television meant beer could be advertised directly into every living room in America. By the 1950s, beer had become completely woven into American identity. Baseball and beer, summer and beer, friendship and beer. The marketing was so effective, so deeply embedded into American culture, that today most people cannot picture a sporting event, a backyard barbecue, or a Friday evening without one. But somewhere in the 1980s, a quiet rebellion began. Small brewers, frustrated with mass-produced beer that prioritized profit over flavor, started experimenting in garages and kitchens. They brought back forgotten recipes. They used unusual hops, local ingredients, experimental techniques. They made beer that actually tasted like something again. The craft beer movement. Today, America has over 9,000 independent craft breweries, more than any country on Earth at any point in history. The same rebellious spirit that drove medieval monks to perfect their recipes, that kept speakeasy bartenders brewing through Prohibition, was alive in a garage in Portland, in a basement in Brooklyn, in a small tap room in Colorado. Beer had come full circle. 10,000 years ago, rainwater fell into a forgotten jar of grain. Someone tasted it, felt something shift inside them, went back for more. That single moment built cities, paid wages, kept armies alive, funded churches, created laws, launched criminal empires, and eventually filled every refrigerator in every home in the modern world. Governments banned it, it survived. Churches controlled it, it escaped. Corporations mass-produced it. People rebelled and made it personal again. Every single time, the beer won. Because here is what 10,000 years of history actually proves. You cannot control what makes people feel human. You cannot legislate away comfort or connection or the simple pleasure of sitting with someone you love and sharing something cold. Kings tried, churches tried, the United States government tried. The jar just kept bubbling. It always does.